Welcome, everybody. So today is November 11th, 2024. So it is 11:11, and it is an energy portal of a day to manifest, to welcome in, to set intentions. It's really, I see the 11:11 portal as a place of new beginnings. I don't want it to be something that's like so big though. So if we really can break this down into looking at yourself, like what new project or what new thing do you want to start? So I'm going to speak a little bit to the energy as we always do. So we're coming off an interesting week because energetically the week wasn't wasn't full of fire energy. It was a little bit of a mix. It was like some chaotic stuff in the beginning, but then kind of like there wasn't a lot of energy going on. And that doesn't mean that there wasn't a lot going on for you. It's just the way that things show up in the universe as a collective. However, when I do check in based on things that happened last week, so you're either really, if you're in America and you were in the election, there's a few things people keep saying that's like polarizing energy, which I think to some extent, yes, there was a lot of people, depending on where you were, that were super excited. Some people who were not so excited and were really devastated. But there was also a large majority of people in the middle who didn't care one way or the other. So I thought that was very interesting because we love to hear about the extremes, but I really think it's important to look at what also is happening in the in-betweens. Because moving forward, this is what we're going to have to pay a lot of attention to. So um I've heard some interesting things come up. I think one of the things that I have felt into is a cautionary um energy feeling around, which has been still showing up in a lot of my sessions up to this date. So a lot of things I've been speaking to, which is a cautionary energy around tuning inward and really listening to the vibrational frequency of things and discerning what matters for you instead of listening to what other people are saying or the chaotic energy that's out there or whatever's going on. Um, I'm hearing some things being said that it's hard. So I'm taking a moment to explain this. Okay, so one of the things that um Trump kept saying on his platform when I believe it was when he won. I don't know because I don't really listen so often, I'm going to be honest. But one of the things that stuck out to me was when he started talking about the golden age that now we are moving into because he won. I'm just, like I said, I don't, this is not about where you feel about who won on the election. This is more about listen to the messaging. So he's speaking this, and it really stood out to me because energetically, we know that we're moving into a new um, generational energy based in astrology, but also based in just energy, right? So we're moving into something. Some people say it's like 2027 will really start to feel this, or 2032, 2033, somewhere around there. But it's not that far off because we're 2024 right now. So in 10 years, between now and 10 years, something's happening that's been talked about for a very long time, at least in the energetic spheres that I'm circling in. And so in that, we have also heard golden age come up in the past, I believe around the Renaissance time. Now, this is a different kind of golden age that has been written about in many metaphysical books and talked about amongst many energy workers. So when I feel into that energy of the golden age, what does that really mean? Well, energetically, it means that we move into hopefully a creative consciousness that really has more to do with collective consciousness in that heart-centered community spaces, working together in a collaborative way, really moving past our emotional scars. We're pulling up a lot of trauma. We have been pulling up a lot of trauma individually, collectively for years now. We're beginning to move into a new place with the Pluto energy coming in, huge transformation, which I know you're going to start to hear about all over the place because it's been talked about. Huge for our generational consciousness as well as our individual consciousness. So we're all moving out of something and into something bigger that's going to affect us for the next generation. So like, maybe 15 years. So when we speak about the golden age, so when I heard that coming out of Trump's mouth, it didn't feel authentic. It felt very much like he was using that in a way that didn't feel true to the energetic movement that I have felt into. Now, who's to say? I feel like he is just a human. Honestly, I don't care if you like him or not, but he is just a human. So I don't really put too much power into him, and I think that's another message coming up this time around is not to put too much power in our politicians and, our government even to some extent. So to obviously we need structure and we need some kind of like form, but when we give it all the power, like it's going to save us. There's this saying that kept popping up for me this week, which comes in from the trauma space as well, which is Superman's not coming, which I guess comes from a Superman movie. I was like, what happens when Superman isn't coming anymore? That's kind of what's coming up for me, right? Like we can't put all of our hopes and dreams on one person or one system, right? So for the past, I don't know, like 5, 10 years now, I know for a lot longer, but specifically, consciously, intentionally for the past 5, 10 years, we have been breaking down and calling out a lot of systems. And so I think that when I heard that, it reminded me of I always talk about this to my friends. I don't really talk about this so much like out in the public, but I have my ideas about alchemy. I love alchemy, love all the things. It's very much a science of magic. It's how do we create something new, right? By combining things. People use it in the language a lot more now. But when I feel into the starts or the beginnings of alchemy and history, there's this idea that always circulates for me. And again, I don't know that I can't say that this is true. I haven't read this in so many books, but there's this energy around the word for me because I feel like there used to be a time in this planet where people had access to different energies, magics, healing abilities. It was just a practice, not just so much a religion, but like, an actual practice as far as healing energies or connecting to greater energies outside of ourselves. And through that, we're able to create, manifest all the things that we see some people being able to do now and working towards as a collective community now. So during that time, alchemy started becoming introduced more so because I feel it had to do with like kings, royalty, men in power wanting to understand so they could harness for their own ego a way to create using science technologies to create what they were basically massacring and killing people for, which is their own natural abilities to practice. So it goes into a lot of things. And it gets really complicated. But what I really want it to boil down to for this messaging today is like that seems to be coming up, right? So the pattern around that seems to be coming up right now. So this idea of um, using something inauthentic to recreate something that is authentic to someone or a group of people that you are then condemning, right? Or massacring. So taking from them and recreating it to package for your own ego. That's kind of the energy I want you to be aware of circulating in your own life right now, but also consciously around you. Now, this does not just have to do with the election. So I don't want you to get stuck on that. I use it as an example because it was a bigger one that came up for me. But I'm seeing it also with people when, and also in my own life, this has happened, but I've heard this from several people now where they have been, come to like trying to be sold a really good workshop or a really good class or a really good session or you need this thing or almost as if playing to their, I don't want to say it's playing to like their fear or their lack or their need because I think that the people that are feeling this don't have any of that in them. They're very conscious of themselves, but it's an energy that's trying to trick. So it's a trickster energy. Should have just said that. So there feels like this trickster energy that's trying to convince people that they need this other thing. So in order to feel capable or powerful. And it's really about discerning in that, like, asking yourself the questions like, is this really going to help me? What do I have to, what's the exchange on this? Is this like a neutral exchange? Like, do I want to invest my time and my money into this thing? Or, do I need it? Or why does this person want me to need it so badly? Right? Like, whatever question comes up for you, follow the train. So there's that energy coming up for sure. I also feel like we're moving into this place of, um, releasing. So we are no, it's just not that I feel it. We are moving into an energy right now of releasing. We have been releasing for a very long time. For many years now, we've been pulling things up. We've been going into our own traumas. We've been going into our earth traumas. We've been going in our collective traumas. We've been unearthing, pulling up, taking things out of the closet. All the skeletons now are here. Now that we've unloaded those closets, now we needed to release. We needed to bring it to the thrift stores or wherever. We just need to like get it out. Now we're going to move into this place where instead of doing more, we need to take a moment. So it's like, can you just take a moment? Can you sit? Can you have your tea? Can you do your journaling? Can you just take a moment to rest before moving forward? Because coming soon is going to be this huge push, which is going to be literally conscious earth changing because we're moving from these old stories and these old beings, these ways of being who we were, into a new way of being. So when Pluto moves through, we're moving from a Capricorn energy to an Aquarius energy. So it is going to feel faster. There's going to be a lot of technology. It's going to be like moving a lot more ahead, probably a lot more consciousness awareness, more intuitive abilities, just more of the energetics, more of this like metaphysical energy. And so all of that is amazing. So many of you who are tuning in and myself who already are in this every day, it feels very amazing to be in that. But at the same time, we know there's a caution to it because when there's too much and there are people that haven't been able to harness their own humanness, it can create catastrophe and chaos. So there's a little bit of a caution, but in general, it is moving from one thing that we have dealt with our traumas, we've released our traumas, we need to let that go, we need to find our stillness, we need to reset, and then we're going to move forward and it's going to be completely different. So I really, 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 really caution you this week to continue to go inside, to get in charge of your own energy, to recalibrate, to not put so much energy into the story of what's happening in the events in the world, because I don't feel that if we can get into our energies to look beyond that, I don't feel that we're redoing this old structured pattern. And it's not because the people who are in charge of our governments have so much power unless we give it to them. So that's the information coming through. And I also liked sometimes I just have so many books behind me. I like to open a book just to see what comes up. And this one came through in this one on dragons from, I think that's backwards, but it's Dragons by Diana Cooper. And so, what stood out to me on this one. Okay, so this one is about the magenta dragons coming back. She does speak a little bit about having to release some karma in 20 by 2032, where there's this like new collective, which I thought was really interesting because that was already on my plate when I decided to make this video for you guys. So this part that she's talking about, when a magenta dragon sees your light is blazing, it approaches you and starts to build a huge, deep pink flame of love all around you. This is filled with higher spiritual knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. The magenta dragon uses this to prepare you to accept who you truly are. It starts to dissolve the veil of amnesia so that you can begin to remember your origins, your soul journey, your gifts, your talents, your wisdom. And that's when you become the enlightened one. So she goes on and says a lot more. But the part that I want you to really pull from here is that, again, when you start to go inward to really feel into your truth, your power, what makes you special, you choosing to be here on this planet right now, that's what you follow. Because when you follow that, you're living in alignment with the energy that you're going to need moving forward into this new consciousness. So if you get distracted by what's happening around you in these bigger events where things aren't so authentic and you're trying to decipher what the true meaning is, it's going to be a distraction for you. You have to go inside. Okay. Don't know that that was so much a message for just this week, but it is the information coming through that you needed to hear this week. So, being that tomorrow is the portal of 1111, clear your energy and really set the intention of what you want to bring in as we move into this new consciousness together. Okay. More on that next time. Have a great week, and I'll see you next time. Subscribe to my channel. Thanks.